Well, well, well. We have ourselves some more in terms of the Montreal Canadiens, and it all comes to us via the Basu and Godine notebook. Now, what you're looking at right here is The Athletic. Jeff Gorton feels the Canadiens added talent to their core, but more could be coming. This will be linked in the description. Of course, it's The Athletic. It's paid for material. You can try The Athletic free for 7 days. Then pay $1.50 a month after your trial. This is not sponsored by The Athletic, by the way. But of course, these articles are behind paywalls, so they're not easy to access if you do not have The Athletic. So, to help us out with the scoop that we are taking from this piece, let's head over onto NHLTradeTalk.com. Because earlier this morning, they published this piece that cites the Athletic article and gives us some of the juicy quotes from Montreal Canadiens Vice President Jeff Gorton, and how he suggests that more moves can be coming. After adding Noah Dobson and Zach Bolduc, Canadiens VP Jeff Gorton says Montreal is not done yet, with more moves potentially coming. Let's dive into this piece and read what it is that Gorton has to say. After a busy stretch that brought in D-Man Dobson and Bolduc, Canadiens Executive Vice President Jeff Gorton isn't ruling out more activity this summer. Speaking on the Basu and Godine Notebook podcast, Gorton described the Canadiens' offseason as a whirlwind, but made clear the team isn't done yet. Did we do everything we set out to do? I don't know. Maybe we'll have to wait a little while to answer that one, Gorton said. The trade for Dobson, a right-handed D-man that Gorton called a core piece, and the acquisition of Bolduc, a player that he has tracked since junior, addressed two key areas, but a glaring hole remains a second-line center, something that Gorton did acknowledge. There is people that can step up. Maybe Doc can do it. We'll see. But I don't look at opening day the same as last time. Like, this is our roster. It's not like filing your taxes. With cap space available and several NHL teams looking to tweak their rosters, Gorton believes more trades could take place before camp. You might see some hockey trades, he said. Maybe a D-man for forwards around the league or vice versa. The Montreal Canadiens are a team on the upswing, and they got there by making savvy, strategic moves. There's no reason to stop now if the opportunity presents itself. Now, the article then says at the bottom, among things they won't be doing is signing Kuznetsov. That was already a conversation we had discussed the other day too. Montreal's front office is using a mix of analytics and gut instincts to shape their roster, and the Canadiens may not be finished yet. The pieces are already added that show a team aiming to take a step forward, not just in the long term, but possibly sooner than expected. Now this is really interesting. Gorton straight up saying that, yeah, we might have to wait a little bit more into the summer to fully be satisfied with what we wanted to do, with building the team that we wanted to build. Guys can step up, but we're not looking at opening day with the roster they have right now as being the roster. There may be some hockey trades. Maybe guys get swapped around 1-for-1 type of deals here. Who really knows? And so, if we look at the Montreal Canadiens and their line combinations, this is where we start to dive into what positions can be open to flexibility. Obviously, we know that second-line center is a big hole. Kirby Dach is not guaranteed to being healthy, and let's just say good enough to play this role full-time. Zach Bolduc has already been reported on working on his face-offs, so we'll see if he gets a shot at second-line C. There is value there because Suzuki and Dach are both right-handed guys. Bolduc is left-handed. There is a meaningful, reasonable reason to actually have diversity from your centers and their handedness. You don't want only right-handed guys on your center core because then you will be at a disadvantage when the face-off comes over to the left side, for example. So if you have a guy like Bolduc who can take face-offs and who can play center, then that's pretty valuable there. Ivan Demidov also, he said that he can play center if he was tasked to, but because of how strong he is on the wing, I don't really know if that's something the Canadiens want to do, unless Demidov himself is like, hey, try me at center. I want to play center. I want to play the middle of the ice. I want more room to make my fancy dangles. I want more control over the playing surface. Then okay, give that guy whatever it is that he wants. But he seems to be comfortable on the wing right here. Bolduc has an opportunity to maybe take that second line spot once in a while. But of course, the ideal scenario would be to have somebody else on this line instead. Get another center, bring him in, move everybody down a spot, have Evans maybe as your fourth line center, have Newhook and Doc on the same forward line there. Obviously, when you're thinking about this roster and the guys that are in and out, I mean, all of these guys are probably in the lineup if you add a second-line center. Oliver Kapanen probably isn't, and I just say that because by default he would be the guy who probably gets scratched. But if you think about a hockey trade, maybe a D for a forward type of move, I mean, this roster is fine. Gooley, Dobson, Hudson, Struble, Matheson, Carrier, but you still have Arbor Xhekaj and David Reinbacher in the mix here. You have options. If you wanted to trade, let's say, Jaden Struble and another draft pick or something for a second line center, then I think that's a realistic idea that makes sense for the Montreal Canadiens. Now, whether or not the receiving team would accept a trade offer like that, that's a different problem. I don't think Jaden Struble and a second round pick by himself is enough to land a top 2 center caliber guy, but that's just kind of the ballpark I feel Montreal would have to start thinking about if they wanted to make a trade for a second line C. Of course, though, I'm just a guy sitting in my bedroom chair talking about this stuff on a YouTube video. Obviously, I'm not the most qualified individual to make commentary as to what the Canadiens should trade, but that's the beauty of fandom, right? We can go out there and say whatever it is the heck we want. And I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. When Jeff Gorton goes out there and says that they still need to do more, the Habs have not been satisfied with everything they wanted to do so far. They might have to wait a little while, and they might have to make some more moves to fully be satisfied. What does that say to you? What names do you think are out there that the Montreal Canadiens could, would, or should be targeting? And what kind of guarantee does this give, in your opinion, for Montreal and the moves they're going to do? And it is interesting, though, how he did say that people can step up. Maybe Doc can step up. We'll see. But the Canadiens are not looking at their opening lineup the same way that they did last year. There are improvements to be made, and there are extra names that can be added. But ultimately, it's just going to boil down to who is available and what the Canadiens are willing to offer up in some sort of a trade. In some sort of a hockey trade. Maybe a D-man for a forward or something like that. I mean, to be fair, Gorton was speaking in general with this statement. I don't think he was referring specifically to the Canadiens. So, with that in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Jeff Gorton's Montreal Canadiens trade update? Who out of these 12 names gets removed from the roster if a trade is made for a second-line center? Do you even add on Kapanen to some sort of a move to make a second-line center trade go through? You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.